right.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Michelle?
All right. Mr. Yoder?
Yes.
Ms. Cookingham?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Biggs?
Yes.
And Mr. Trevor?
Yes.
Thank you. You
Okay, the next step will be our public comment period. It is the intent that all persons attending this meeting of the board, regardless of handicap condition, shall have an opportunity to participate. If any person present requires any special assistance, please let the board know in order that arrangements can be made. So we'll open our public comment. Remember to each comment's 4 minutes. Come forward, you state your name and the district you're from. Alrighty, I'll declare the public comment closed. Constitutional officers, I don't see any. Dr. Millsap, it's your turn.
All right, well, thank you. So you'll see is 8A in your packet is a proclamation recognizing March 2021 as Multiple Sclerosis Education and Awareness Month in the County of Floyd. And of course, you see before you in your packet that resolution, that proclamation, sorry.
I'll take a motion that we approve it.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second.
That's okay. Okay.
We'll call the roll.
So, motion by Mr. Booth, second by Mr. Colvin. So, we will start with Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Mr. Colvin,
Yes.
Ms. Cookham,
Yes.
Mr. Yoder,
Yes.
and Mr. Sherman.
Yes.
All right, unanimous. Thank you for that.
I do appreciate the board always doing that resolution. As MS has affected my family, so I appreciate it.
Yes, me as well. So thank you from me as well. Next, you'll see item 8B, which is moving some funds around from contingency. And you'll see there's just a little sheet of paper there. Transfer from contingency in the amount of $66,500 to environmental fund solid waste for work necessary for the Indian Valley Green Box site. And if I might take a moment here, I'll give you also a small update on where we are before we move to any action on that. But so as you know, the lease was signed and has notarized and been filed appropriately. The contract was let, and the green boxes have been ordered, and at this point the vendor has indicated they will start the week of the 6th on doing work on the site. So, and the permit has been requested, and as has the request for waiving the $100 fee that normally is a permit for VDOT.
And
Take a motion to,
question. What are we looking at for back in service? I had somebody call and reach out to me. Did any date as to when the boxes will be in service? Estimate?
I don't know yet. That's as far as I've gotten so far on it.
Okay.
It's going to be a considerable amount of land work.
Right.
So it's going to be,
in the letter too.
we're moving forward.
Right.
I would say it should get installed 2 weeks for site development at least.
So maybe by May?
They should be happy you got food as quick.
Oh, I know. That's what I told her.
We've all, everybody, I think the county staff's had a piece of this one.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have the VDOT permit in there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I know.
Because even if the site's ready, they can start using it until we can take permit.
Right.
He did give his blessing
Yeah, but
and his boss as well. So.
And then to both of us separately.
Yeah, so they're
double jeopardy.
Yeah.
Should be a thing.
should.
In my experience,
Yeah, right.
don't count on it until it's in your hand.
Yeah.
Uh,
All
Any
right,
more discussion? Take a motion to approve.
So moved?
oh, I'm sorry.
No, you got, no, it's fine. Doesn't matter to me, I'll second this.
He doesn't care as long as it's.
Yeah,
As long as at least 3 of us vote yes, he'll be
There
happy.
you go. All right.
It'll be long.
Ms. Cookenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Goldman,
Yes.
Mr. Yoder,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
and Mr. Phil.
Yes.
All right, I'll see you then.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, we're excited about that. VDOT was very impressed about how quickly we got this moving along, by the way. So, these next several are similar in nature. And so, if you don't mind, I'm going to let Cindy talk to you about all of these.
Ladina and Tabitha worked very hard to identify all our revenue and expenditure streams on the various grants they have procured. A pretty impressive list when you look at it. But we thought for clarity in our financial statements, it might help if we were to book these right at the time we're awarded them.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do here is grant by grant identify our revenue stream and approving both the increased authorization to accept the funds and spend the funds for the purpose of the grant. The first one you see before you is $200,000 in federal money from for the Community Development Block Grant for the VITA program.
I move approval.
I'll second.
That's what we need to do.
I have one question real quick.
Go ahead.
I noticed on this back page, number 1, it says not to exceed 200,000. Does that mean it could come in under that?
It's,
We intend to use every dollar if we possibly can. That's all I can tell you.
I almost had it.
The federal grant to return funds, no.
yeah, right, not returning any money.
All right. And I apologize, I heard that Mr. Yoder made the motion and the second was okay. Thank you, ma'am. So, Ms. Beard, would you let me go ahead? Okay. Mr. Yoder,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Mr. Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
It rolls right off the tongue, huh?
It does.
Just give me
The next one is something similar. It's the $1,080,000 we're getting from CDBG for the housing rehabilitation project. That's the scatter site project.
Take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion?
All right.
Uh,
All right. Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenberg,
Yep.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Yoder,
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
And the next one is, you're going to see a couple of these that are for the different pieces of the Growth Center building. And this one is for the Tobacco Regional Revitalization Commission, $497,475, their portion of that building.
I move approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion?
Okay. Mr. Yoder,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenberg.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Mr. Turner.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, now this one's a little bit more complicated. That's what I have a note at the bottom. We're not doing this building for $5,550. It's that, we had already booked $3.5 million in the, expenditures and $2.3 million for revenues. And I think it was because at the time we had the line of credit for the building, so we recognized that. And we knew approximately how much we were getting, but didn't know the exact penny. So this is just recognizing the other portion of that revenue stream we got for from USEDA for the building.
Right.
It was 2.305 instead of just 2.3.
Right.
And
I'll make a motion.
To approve?
Second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? Go ahead.
Okay. Ms. Cooperman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Yoder?
Yes.
And Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Okay, this is for the Phase 2 road project. We received a grant from TRRC for $420,696. And this is to recognize that revenue appropriation and expenditure appropriation.
And this is for the,
Phase 2 road in
right, the road. Right.
it's for that project, but their part happens to be for the utilities. It goes with the road project, but their part is for the utilities.
Right.
I move approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? Go ahead.
Mr. Coleman? Mr.
I'm sorry.
All right. Have my glasses on, I couldn't see them. All right. Mr. Yoder?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Ms. Cooperman?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
8.
And this one, we had already booked $170,000 of this in both revenues and expenditures in the current year budget. This is recognizing the other part of the award, and the other part comes to $911,958. What we had done in the past, and what we're doing differently now, is in the past we have only recognized in the budget that amount that we expected to spend that year. But what we have found as we were trying to piece all this back together is that makes it really confusing as to what year you recognized what and what's the whole thing look like.
Right.
So what we thought might be better, looking at Tabitha and I and Dr. Millsap's blessing, is if we were to recognize the entire grant at the time it's awarded, and we know the final dollar amount, and then at the end of the year, anything not expended or received at that end of the year will carry over to the next year, but that way we'll have a continuous picture of how the project
That makes sense.
just progress it.
Great idea. Especially with all these moving parts.
I move approval.
Second.
And just as a side note, these guys, just so you're aware, spent a lot of time and energy trying to make sure all these numbers were exactly right and that we were picking up everything. So they really scrubbed stuff to make sure that we're as transparent and forthright. So
Thank you.
Yeah, they're good, very good. They work really hard. With that, Mr. Chair, would you like me to go ahead?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Yoder?
Yes.
Ms. Cookenwood?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
And Mr. Turner?
Yes.
I'm going to move on to I,
Thank you.
which is the agreement between the Department of Health and the Floyd County Board of Supervisors for funding and service of the Floyd County Health Department. And of course, this, as you saw before, there had been a question about, is this the correct term of the agreement? And the answer is yes.
Okay.
So that's why it's back before you.
I move approval.
Second.
Motion second, any other discussion?
I have one question. On page 2, the highlighted one, the 1, 2, 3rd one down. It's not filled out. Is there any idea why?
No, I didn't ask that.
I didn't pay attention to that. I just jumped out at it.
It's just a salary, but yes, I didn't ask you this, so our apologies about that.
See them now.
We're going to boost to 5. You looking in the book? Maybe that's
That's
it.
all right. It's not to hold it up, but I was more curious when I seen that.
We can certainly, if you all are willing to give us that attitude, clarify with them and bring that back for, if you go ahead and approve it this evening, but let me know.
Just
as
for
soon as we find out. All right,
Go ahead.
Mr. Yoder,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Ms. Cookinger,
Yes.
all right, Mr. Booth.
Yeah,
Mr. Burke.
sorry about that. I choked myself when it comes to agreements with the health department.
All right, and then the next item here is something we received from Air Medcare in your packet. And it's consideration of whether you would like to hear a presentation from them or possibly offering membership for employees as a county pay benefit or payroll deduction from interested employees. And of course, as you see here, the network is an alliance of affiliated air ambulance providers. And they reach out to us, so we report.
So our lifeguards are not part of the system,
They are.
are they?
Yes.
Okay, so lifeguard 10, 11, and,
I looked it up and 10 and 11 are part of the system.
okay.
Is their current insurance not covered this type of thing?
I think our insurance covers a portion of it. I don't know how much of it it covers.
No.
I gather I asked Philip about it. Dr. Millsaps asked me to run it by Philip. And he said, a big thumbs up because it's a huge expense. And when somebody needs it, they're not in a position to
Say yea or nay.
say yea or nay, and EMS is making that call on their behalf.
And even some of the people that are, I have been on calls before where people have turned it down when they really needed it because they thought they didn't want to leave a huge debt to their family when they passed. And I've literally been on one call that really stands out in my memory, that the gentleman turned it down and then 20 minutes into the ride to the hospital decided he wanted it. But it was, I can just, that particular call, I can just remember how much pain he was in, how it was a life and death situation. And to make that decision based on finances is, that's just a bad place to be. I felt for him, because that was strictly what he was doing.
Yeah. The average cost of one of these rides is expensive.
And it was,
I was gonna say, right now, you're not making a decision whether to accept it or not, it's just,
Right.
if you're interested in hearing what the sales rep has to say about it.
I don't know, I'm maybe missing something here, but do we need to hear from them just to allow their voice to have the option? Or are they wanting us?
You have to vote every time we have a new payroll deduction, you have to allow it. You don't have to listen to them, you could just vote, and say, yeah, you can do it, but usually you listen to their presentation to decide if it's.
Yeah, all for giving each individual person the option if they want to, it's up to them to sign up or not.
That's right. Well, I guess one thing I thought about when I looked over it was, the school board has many more members than employees than we do. I wonder if it's a possibility that we could somehow
I was
make a
thinking the same
presentation to
thing,
both
because
of us.
I understand that their insurance does not cover it.
At all.
I don't think so.
Wow.
I just wonder if there's, or maybe invite Dr. Wheeler at the same time that we hear a presentation. I don't know, it seems like they would,
And you're the person responsible at their offices.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
They would chair the board on it,
I was not thinking about inviting them to ours, but just
or send them that way.
Yeah.
ask
However
them
it
if they
works.
wanted us to send them that way.
Yeah. I guess if we offered it, people like on the PSA and town and some of the people that piggyback could also offer it as well. Yeah, I don't see what the downside is.
No. And,
But it would be interesting for our employees' sakes to see if there was a way to find out what our insurance covered.
Okay.
and then ask how many employees might be interested? I mean, is there any kind of a minimum or anything?
I think
Or that's what we would hear from her about?
that's what we hear from her about. They do have a thing, there's a difference if we were to do it as a group and the county were paying it, so they knew that they were covering everybody and giving a county-wide discount. But I'm not sure if there would be one if it were individuals and they were coming and going off of it as they came and left employment. I'm not sure.
No, I don't have a problem.
Just from us, I think for me personally, if I wanted to do that, it would, my decision would be based on how much the insurance would already cover.
Mhm.
If it covered 8% of it, I probably wouldn't be as worried about it as if it covered 10%, I was gonna be stuck with a $20,000 bill.
It was the 35,000 ride, right? Something like that? I think so.
I don't mind putting it out there, by no means for each and every person that can see us in this budget year,
No, I don't.
absorbing it.
No.
For that matter, you know, if we aren't planning on taking it on as part of the pay benefit, I don't see why we need to have them speak personally, just open it up to the employees if they want to join them.
I think as elected officials, I would like to hear from her, just to know that if anybody came to me, any of my constituents that were employed and wanted to know more information, I guess they could come to Cindy, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I wouldn't mind hearing.
to break down benefits and they'll be provided.
Well, our insurance cover is probably good.
Any deadlines for signing up, or?
No,
Open enrollment, as it were.
I guess if we did it, we probably want to start it for July 1,
Yeah.
to coincide with all our other benefit
Yeah.
plans.
I kind of agree with them, I don't have a problem with offering it for our employees. I don't know that they need to make a presentation to us, they might need to make one for the employees.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. If we're not, now, if we were considering putting it in the budget as a
Right.
big benefit, yeah, I just don't see,
I don't think we,
do you need a motion for that?
So, do you want to find out how much Anthem covers on helicopter ride? Are you saying you want to go ahead and make this available to them?
Well, I'm
Let's see what our insurance covers first.
Okay,
If
okay,
it
we'll
covers
bring it back to you
90%,
next
then
month.
Might be a new point, or I think so.
I was just gonna let each employee make that decision instead of me going for them, but either way.
Let me find out, and we'll bring this back to you.
We're not gonna start till July anyway.
Right.
We got time.
Let me find that back, and let me also, after I find out, if I find out it's very little that it pays, let me just poll employees and see how much interest there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good too.
And then I can also check with Dr. Wheeler and Janet Harris and see if the school, once I find this out, see if the school has
Yeah.
some interest and if they want us to,
They don't cover anything.
I don't.
That would be big.
and I'm just basing it on somebody I know who had used the service and it was not covered.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I just would hate to be in that position where I'd be trying to make the decision.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got a 10% higher chance of living if you get on it, but it'll cost you $35,000. You're trying to decide why you're in the middle of a heart attack. You don't want to be in that position.
No.
So, Mr. Chair, we're gonna leave that as kind of the staff is gonna get more information and bring it to a meeting. All right. I think we had some things that had to be added after this. Okay. So, I didn't write the closed session language.
35 and 29. You found it, 29.
Sorry?
35 and 29, A3, A5, and A29.
I make a motion to amend the agenda to include what they just said.
Motion second, any more discussion?
All right, and was it Laura?
Lauren made the motion. Jerry. Lauren second.
All right, Mr. Booth.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Yoder.
Yes.
Mr. Colby.
Yes.
Ms. Kuchenberg.
Yes.
And Mr. Tuck.
Yes.
Moving to closed session.
Now, that was a motion to amend the
Commissioner
agenda.
agenda, okay, sorry.
Now
Amend
we
the
have to
agenda
go
to
through
include the
the
closed
part.
session that we're now gonna discuss it right now. Go into closed session.
What's
Define A3.
I have the codes if you need them.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Description.
It's, manufacturing and support services
You read it.
for A,
Thank you.
for A3 and 5.
Yeah, didn't make the motion, go ahead.
I'll make a motion, we go into closed session, under code section 2.2-3711, A3, A5, A29. Discussion and acquisition and consideration of real property for A3. Discussion concerning prospective business industry under A5. And discussion of public contract involving the expenditure of public funds under A29.
We need a short description. What did you say?
It's manufacturing and support services.
That's
Second.
Motion second.
Motion by Mr. Coleman, second by Mr. Booth. All right, Ms. Coleman.
yes.
Mr. Booth.
Yes.